We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He's starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Izuku, he don't live in reality. Shake back off, come on fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing us. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, and I'm back. Back with you with a what if. I haven't been posting on that of the channel for an entire year or two, actually. And this is, what if Izuku had a Legion Quirk? This is part 5, and yeah, sorry it's been such a long-ass time since I've done one like this. Apologies, guys, I really am. But trying to catch up on that of my older what-ifs, alongside making new ones to keep the channel relevant. Some of the most unique and more convoluted what-ifs will have to take a back foot, unfortunately, such as this one, after all. So yeah, anyway, with all that said, let's get into that of a recap, a necessary one at that. In the last part, Izuku's life is quite improving quite a bit, actually. With him during his final year at Somei Private School, his friendship with Ida improving, him being quite admired by everybody at that of, well, Somei. And not to mention, his sentient quirks are quite, he's starting to get a hang of, actually. Even starting using their abilities for himself, too. Not to mention his friendship with that of the heteromorphic fox woman, Josei Ippen. As on her way back to home, she was soon basically accosted by those of the Meta Liberation Army, mainly because the company she works at is a shell company under that of Detenra, which is a company that is a front for the Meta Liberation Army, with Izuku saving her and that of his sentient quirks helping out as well, and even Eiji Katakuri basically taking care of that of the heroes, and even suggesting that Josei stay with that of the Midoriyas for a short time, just for a little bit, just to keep her safe. And now, things are about to become a lot more interesting. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? Several months have now gone by, with that of Josei staying with the Midoriyas, and let's just say it's been an interesting, move, actually. As of course, the apartment is quite, small for her, but not too small that she wouldn't be able to get in and out after all. But still somewhat of a tight squeeze for her. Not to mention, Izuku allowing her to stay in his room, which does have a little bit more space, but not that much for her, though. Especially given his bed being quite small. But even so, she doesn't complain. Hell, if anything, she actually kind of enjoys spending time with that of Midoriyas, as she normally basically just lives by herself and doesn't really have that much to talk with, as she does have friends, but they're mainly work colleagues, and she doesn't spend time with them as much either. So in a way, the discomfort is mainly a blessing in disguise for her. However, speaking of that of her work friends and workplace in general, the investigation on why that she was basically targeted by those of the Meta Liberation Army led back to that of her workplace, which the CEO is literally a member or a believer of the Meta Liberation Army, which even led to that of several people within that of the company also being, well, outed out as members too, with all of the normal staff and people were basically being slowly converted into members as well by reading out of the book of the Meta Liberation War. And with all that, the company had to soon shut down. However, Detnra, to make sure that they weren't basically involved with this, their CEO and president, Rikia Yatsuhashi, basically say that they disown and do not appreciate anyone trying to use the coattails of that of their own company to spread their own propaganda and even target and attack that of their own employees if they don't agree with them. But given that we already know on who this bastard is, we all know that he's basically saying all of this out of his ass and don't even believe the own words he's even saying himself. But even so, now that Jose is now able to go back to her own place, however, given that the place she was working at is now shut down, she has try to find a new place of work after all. Thanks to Katsukori, she was able to find a pretty suitable place that would allow somebody like her, being a heteromorph Quirk user, and works well with that of her size after all. But of course, the positive is that she does come by to spend time with the Midoriyas from time to time, given that she enjoyed spending time with them for the past couple of months while the investigation was going down. However, to make sure that she stayed safe, Izuku basically unleashed another, sentient Quirk, another version of himself from his mindscape. As this version of Izuku, as it still looks like Izuku, however, the only difference is this Izuku has, animal ears, and not just any animal ears, wolf animal ears, alongside that of a long wolf fluffy tail, but with sharp claws on both his hands and feet. As this is a more, mutant Quirk version of Izuku, just as they theorize that Izuku would have that of mutant type quirks, making him that of somewhat of a heteromorph in one way or another. And just like the appearance, he basically takes that of the animal trait of a wolf, basically able to move around and basically move as fast as a wolf, but even faster, animal senses, tracking, and everything else. Not to mention, his sharp claws can even basically cut through that of pure iron as well. Not to mention it, he also weirdly has that of a danger sense, actually. He can sense danger and can even sense when other people are in danger too. Mainly people who are close to Izuku. As Izuku decided to name this new version of himself Ko, as it only makes sense to call him that. Simple and to the point. As for Ko, besides being overprotective of Izuku, he's also overprotective of, Josei as well. Like, he was so attached to that of the gigantic fox woman Quirk user, to the point that, he was always by her side, even when she started going back to her own place, after it now being safe. Let's just say he was always there waiting for her, which made her quite embarrassed, with even Izuku always constantly apologizing for, not being able to keep Ko in check. As for Ko's reasonings on why, he's saying, want to keep her safe, must keep Josei safe, with being caught off guard, causing her to blush a bit, even Izuku as well. Because again, Ko is basically a version of Izuku, as they are basically self-conscious personalities of Izuku that he keeps deep down. So in a way, Ko basically symbolizes his overprotectiveness of people around him. And right now, Ko is quite overprotective of Josei, with Josei making a proposition towards Izuku and Ko, with her basically going, I don't mind him staying here. However, within, looking at that of Ko, saying, Ko, was it? How about this? You stay at my place to keep me safe whenever you can, and even tag along with me to when I go to work. However, afterwards, you must go back to that of Izuku. Does that sound okay? Within hearing that, Ko can help but smile as his tail even begins to wag, saying, yes, I accept. Ko accepts. As he can't help but be so excited. Within, Izuku couldn't help but basically, smile as well in that embarrassment, with even Ippen saying, I think I'm going to enjoy this a little bit. With that of a kind and also somewhat curious smile. Since then, this has kind of been their routine, actually, with Izuku still basically training and even learning how to develop that of using his other quirks abilities by himself. As of course, it's always best to have that of team and even team coordination, which is exactly what he's focusing on. For example, he basically developed a combo between that of Ryuji and Yuma, a team attack to create that of a flaming tornado that they have full control, that the both of them have full control over, with Ryuji creating how hot he wants the flames to be, and how Yuma can create that of a tornado, and how big or how small the tornado can be as well. Another combo that he's working on is between that of Gil and also that of Gensai, with Gensai creating multiple, earth spikes from the ground, with Gil basically using those earth spikes as that of, melee weapons, and enhancing that of the earth spikes with that of his aura, which he can coat with it, making them more durable and as strong as any other support gear used for that of combat. These are all techniques and abilities that Izuku thought of on the fly while training, figuring out that each ability can basically coordinate and work with each other if used properly. Hell, even Izuku can do it as well without having to use his sentient quirks to be out to do so. The only problem is it takes a lot of control, focus, and willpower to do it. So to make it a little bit more easier on him and less much of a strain on his body, he allows his sentient quirks to do the techniques and combo moves themselves, which means Izuku is fully ready for the UA entrance exam, which is basically tomorrow, as Izuku leaves the training grounds for the HPSC, as Katakuri waves off the boy before smiling, saying, I can already tell what you're about to say, Hawks. Within, multiple red feathers begin to fall around as he sees one of them basically spin around him before heading back towards that of the occupant. The current number 3 hero, a spiky, messy blonde with that of a yellow visor, a yellow jacket with that of baggy yellow pants and combat boots. But what stands out the most about him is his fierce red wings. As the rank number 3 hero, Hawks, or his real name that nobody knows about, Keigo Takami. That's of a carefree and not even caring smile, saying, hey, you're gotten pretty close with the kid. Midoriya, was it? I'm honestly quite impressed. Within, Katakuri saying, get to the point. Like I want to waste my time with you. I need to get back to work after all. Within, Keigo saying, ouch, that's gotta hurt. What, still a little butthurt about what I said years ago? Within saying, get to the point. Takami, within hearing his former last name, as he can but narrow his eyes, but still smiling, saying, all right, just a little bit of a heads up. I thought for sure you'd be already converting him to that of the HPSC by now. The UA entrance exam is tomorrow, right? And the president is expecting Midoriya to stay with them if he wants to fully understand and develop his quirk. And he gets the easier part to get his hero license ahead of time, just like good old Moa after all. So, care to explain why you haven't done that? Just asking, that's all, and a little curious. But then, seeing that of the man, asking that of sentient questions, before then saying he's too good for this. Within, hearing that, Hawks could help but say, oh, what do you mean by that? Within saying, I'm saying Izuku Midoriya is too good for the HPSC. And I mean that literally. He's too kind-hearted, too nice. Even if his alternate personalities, his sentient quirks are more aggressive, arrogant, and basically willing to do things that he normally wouldn't do, they would still listen to him, obey him. They're a part of him, and basically are still him deep down. You and the president and everyone else, the higher-ups, are asking me to put away a good hero who has a great potential of making the world a better place with a quirk like his. Sure, I can already tell in our society, a quirk like his, so powerful, so versatile, and so dangerous, would basically make him a threat to the HPSC and even to the president herself. But I'll let you know this now. If you take away the people he cares about, if you try to go after his life, nothing is stopping him from going berserk and using everything he knows about the HPSC against us. Within, Hawk saying, the kid doesn't know anything about us and just expects us to help. Within, him saying, who said that he doesn't. Within, as Korkage basically gives off that of a cheeky smirk towards Hawks. Within Hawks saying, you didn't. Within saying, contingency plans. Anything happens to me, that kid, his mother, or the heteromorphic young woman that's slowly starting to have a thing for him, I told one of his other sentient quirks, the more reasonable, rational, and more ruthless one of them, to basically leak everything about the HPSC on the internet. The one I entrusted it towards was Riku. When Hawk's hearing that, saying, you know you could cause a lot of damage with that. But saying, and that's exactly why I'm wanting to make sure that kid has a chance. This world needs heroes like him, not a pawn, not a tool. Not you, not another Layla Gods, and especially not another O'Clock. Within hearing that, Hawks almost looks like he's about to go off on that of the agent before smirking, saying, it's reasons like this is what I like about you, man. You say it how it is. Within, Quirk saying, I took this job to do what I could on the inside and what I can do to basically make things easier for innocent people like him. And that's exactly what I'm going to continue doing. Good to know. As the two walk off, together actually, Within saying, still, do you really have to be an asshole to me? As without even saying anything, you brought this on yourself. And next time, if you piss me off, I will tase you. While watching the next big hero, Within saying, ouch. With that, Izuku's time with the HPSC has finally come to an end. And now it's time for the UA entrance exam. As today's the day. Today's the day he has been waiting for so long. So long to get into that of UA high school. With now, he's finally ready. Ready for everything. From the training, from the support, and even, thanks to that, of his own self-support. As he walks into that other building, little did Izuku know, a certain somebody noticed him. A certain somebody that, even to this day, has basically had a grudge out for him all this time. Unfortunately for this little person, they can't interact with Izuku or even be near him. If they even break any of this, they know what's going to happen to them. Is of course this person being Bakugo. As all the Ashen Blonde can do is basically grit his teeth and bear with it. And just don't do anything. Don't let his fragile ego get in the way of him going to the school that was meant for him. But thinking about this causes that of some old wounds across his face to basically start to act up a bit. With that of Izuku walking through that of the building, he soon runs into that of somebody that he already expected to show up. That being Ida, as the two basically head off, where they'll be going to that of the areas where they'll be doing the written exam. Within they arrive with a few UA teachers a few pros that not even a lot of people are aware of or know of, except Izuku, of course, as they were giving that of multiple test papers on multiple subjects, with them giving that of an hour and 30 minutes to finish that of the written exam, with Izuku taking on each subject. However, it did take at least a lot more longer than usual, mainly because he having to hear that of his other cells of his sentient Quirk, basically giving him answers, either right or wrong. Luckily, he did have a way to basically mute them when doing tests after all these years, but even so, occasionally they do slip from time to time. With that, he soon finished his written exam and soon heads to that of an auditorial hall where they'll be explaining that of the practical exam. However, before arriving, he was given that of a seat number, given that it's an assigned seat given where he lived, given the school he went to. With as soon as he does, he soon sits right next to that of somebody he was already aware saying, Ida, with then saying, hello there, Midoriya. Yeah, makes sense that we would sit together since we went to the same school. Hopefully, we can basically compare notes once we find out what we'll be doing for the practical exam. With then, Izuku saying, Ida, chill. With then, realizing, yes, I should probably allow things to play out as time goes on. I would prefer it if Ryuji doesn't pop out and basically yell at me to tell me to cool it, as he would say. With then, Ryuji mentally saying, I wouldn't tell him that in such a PG way. I would have told him to basically shut his ass up. With Izuku mentally saying, I'm aware. We all are. As many other students begin to fall in, with then seeing so many applicants for that of the hero course, possibly over hundreds, all across Japan applied here, with Ginsu saying, it makes sense. UA is one of the most prestigious schools. And looking back, seeing a majority of the top ranking pros came from UA after all. The most famous UA alumni was All Might of all people. So of course, making it into the school where the number one hero went to only makes sense. While Izuku is still reminiscing and thinking about how many people he needs to outperform during this exam, the lights soon go out. Before then, a spotlight comes onto that of one of the stages near the podium. And soon, rising up from that of the stage is a man wearing that of a full-on rocker leather uniform and outfit with a leather jacket, leather pants, and also a huge-ass speaker around his neck with that of slick, spiky hair and orange aviator sunglasses. As this being the pro hero and teacher of UA, President Mike. As Izuku can up and say, oh my god, it's President Mike! I listen to his every day on the way to school. He is so cool. With then, Ida saying, you did mention him quite a bit of times, Midoriya. I won't lie, what does his radio show mainly entails? With then, Izuku was about to explain. However, that's when President Mike spoke up saying, hello, listeners. Are you all hyped for this exam? Come on, give me a yeah. With everybody basically staying quiet. But then Izuku saying, I'll tell you later. With Yuma coming saying, wow, he's so much more intense in person. I guess the rumors were true about him. With then President Mike going, keeping it all mellow. I can dig with this. Now then, shall we all begin? You all be wondering what you all be doing for the practical exam. Well, wonder no longer. What you'll be doing is facing against villains. But then, everybody in the room couldn't help but react to this, and actually somewhat worry. Before then, President Mike saying, don't worry, you'll be facing against real villains. You'll be facing against that of faux villains. Basically, robots. If you all remember, when you got that of your seating numbers, you also got that of a pamphlet on what you'll be facing against. Within, everybody began opening up that of the pamphlet that they have, with showing that of each of the robots for the practical exam. Before then, he presses a button, as a screen comes down with showing that of all 4 robots on there. Within saying, you'll mainly be taking on that of 3 types of robots: 1-pointers, 2-pointers, and 3-pointers. The more points you gain, the more chances you have to make it into that of the UA Hero Course. We won't tell you on the number of robots that are necessary to take out for you to get that at the specific points to make it into the Hero Course. However, you're going to have to decide that of your own accord. But then, Gil couldn't help but say, in other news, he's basically saying go wild, but there's most likely a secondary option to gain points. Within Riku commenting saying, most likely, by my estimates, it's possibly rescue points. Within Ryuji saying, seriously? That's it? Rescue points? Look, we all know that saving people and protecting the innocent is one of the most important things of being a hero. But given this day and age that everybody only gives a damn about beating the shit out of villains like the mindless, brain-dead idiots that society believes that they are, believes that what a hero is mainly due to their quirk or how flashy it is, I would be surprised if they actually do have points where we have to rescue something. Yo, Izuku, what do you expect us to basically rescue? But then, Izuku thinking, saying, either there are possibly that of, applicants that we had to find in the city that need to be rescuing, maybe robots that look humanoid that we need to rescue, or possibly, as Izuku was about to go into a muttering spree, that's when Ida soon jumped up saying, I have a question, President Mike. Within, Izuku realized, wait, what? Before realizing, oh no. As then President Mike saying, caller, Hitman, tell me what's on your mind. But then Ida explained saying, you said that we'll be mainly facing inside of 3-point robots. However, you also brought up the fact that there's a 4th robot on the practical exam on that of the screen, but not on that of this pamphlet. We, as that of UA applicants, need to know every single detail and the possibility so we don't make crucial mistakes during this exam. I would expect something better of one of the most prestigious schools such as UA after all. With Izuku a little bit horrified, I had Ida before Ryuji saying, I'm slapping him. With then Riku saying, no, I'm slapping him, Riku. I'm definitely slapping him when this is all over. With Yuma going, come on Ryuji, you're overreacting. No, I am definitely slapping him. He is overreacting, and I'm pretty sure President Mike was about to explain shit. With Izuku sighing at the interactions of his inner self and of sentient quirks, and just let it be for now, and probably try and stop Ryuji from basically hitting Ida, of course, for annoying him, after all. Within, President Mike saying, good looking out there, little listener. I was just about to get to that, actually. The thing was, the 4th robot is worth no points. Basically, a 0-point robot. With then, everybody in that of the auditorium began to perk up at hearing that, wondering why do they have a robot like that. Within, President Mike continues explaining, saying, think of this robot as more of an obstacle. A robot that basically demonstrates an overpowered foe that you alone cannot take down yourself. It's the kind of villain that you need to wait on backup, or that you need to wait for a hero with a more stronger or more capable quirk. With then hearing that, everybody couldn't help but feel at least a little bit more, both disappointed and a little bit, relieved as well. With President Mike saying, and that should do it all for all the information you need for the practical exam. Now, let me lay down some words of wisdom for all y'all. From the words of Napoleon Bonaparte, a true hero is one who basically faces and overcomes all adversity. Because here at UA, we always go plus ultra! Raising his fist up in the air after finishing saying plus ultra, which in a way, it basically reassured and also pumped a lot of applicants for the exam. After leaving the exam, that's when Ryuji basically came out and went straight to basically about to slap the shit out of Ida. With then Izuku alongside Yuma and Riku And even that of Gensu had to basically hold him back with then saying, I said I would slap him. I said I would slap him. Stop holding me back, you assholes. With Ida realizing, I've pissed you off. In your words, I would say. You think? With a few minutes of calming down Ryuji, he soon basically takes a big huff before then going back into that of Izuku's mindscape. With then the rest also do the same. With then Ida saying, apologies, Midoriya, for annoying you. Saying, it's not me you annoyed, it's mainly Ryuji. He's gotten used to you, but I feel like you interrupted that of President Mike before he could fully finish what he was about to explain. So he feels like you just slighted a pro hero that I kind of respect. But then he is saying, I see. Then truly apologies. But then he is saying, I'm surprised you understand him that well. But then, as Izuku and Ida are about to head to the changing rooms to get into that of what the uniforms they'll be wearing for the exam, with Izuku wearing a, tracksuit, with Ida wearing that of a blue leotard that with that of a white pattern that almost looks like that of Ingenium's armor pattern, which made Izuku basically a little bit smile a bit as he shows his family pride even during this, as they take that of a charter bus towards that of the entrance exam area. Within, Izuku realized, oh right, Ida and I won't be in that of the same area, especially given the fact that we come to the same school, so we won't be able to help one another. That's to be expected. Seeing around him, seeing the applicants, as a few of them kind of stand out quite a bit. Like there's this one girl with that of pink skin, has messy hair, and it's just like him, but it's way pink after all, with that of yellow horns as well. Another applicant that surprisingly stands out mainly from her aura alone, as she has that of orange hair into that of a side ponytail. Not to mention, it looks like she's wearing that of a karate gi. And another applicant that somewhat stands out too is the one with that of a raven head. Like his head and face is that of a raven bird, as he's quite stoic. With then, Izuku can't help but feel a little bit, on guard. Even though he has training from the HPSC, he understands his quirk to a new level now after these short few years. But still, his nervousness does get the better of him from time to time. With then, looking up at that of the massive gate where they'll be doing that of their exam. With then, Riku comments saying, remember, Izuku, you can do this. You already have a plan to work with this. Now that we know what that we're facing instead of robots during this exam. With Izuku taking a deep breath and having a serious look saying, you're right. You're absolutely right. So that means I know what I need to do. But then Riku mentally smirking and that of his chair saying, then let us begin. Yuma within saying, on it. Before then, as Izuku saying, I'm bringing out Ko as well. Within hearing this, as the wolf-like version of Izuku saying, really? I can actually go out? But then Izuku saying, mainly if that so-called points are about that of rescuing people is important, I don't want to take any chances. You're the quickest and you have the best senses out of everyone here. But then Gil couldn't help but scoff before saying, outside of Gil as well, so. But then saying, all right, I got this. Ko won't let Izuku down. With hearing that, soon the gates begin to open, as it looks like the practical exam is about to begin. Within, President Mike saying, and go! With this, they soon everybody rushes into that of their zone, with Izuku doing the exact same thing. Within both Riku, Yuma, and even Ko basically materialize right beside and in front of Izuku. But then as Izuku using that of Ryuji's fire quirk to basically propel himself forward, using both the palms of his hands and his feet as well. Within, they soon arrive, passing at least a few applicants here and there, with some completely shocked by that of multiple versions of Izuku, wondering when did that of the same person showed up, with some of them noticing Izuku as only one person, but now there are four of them, with Ko basically running up that of the walls, holding tight to that of the walls while he climbs up them using his sharp claws. As Riku moves so fast as he basically generates lightning throughout his entire body, finally reaching one of the robots as it being a 2-point robot, with him sending a one powerful ass shock blast, completely destroying it, as it's nothing but just smoke, fire and smoke. Before then seeing another robot, being that of a 1-point robot, sending that of another electric shock that not only destroys it, but also basically fries all of its internal circuitry as well, showing that Riku's control over that of the lightning quirk of Izuku is becoming quite more and more deadly in his hands. As for Yuma, currently flying over that of the air, relaying locations for that of robots in the distance, alongside that of Ko, who's basically jumping from, building to building, seeing around, as he noticed that some applicants are struggling with robots given their quirks, to be honest. As he goes down to an alleyway where a 1-pointer is about to basically send that of multiple hard rubber balls towards that of a applicant, he basically extends his claws before then slicing it in two, as he gives off that of a friendly wave, before then jumping back up to that of the rooftops to give more of a, bird's eye view once again. As for Izuku, channeling each and every one of the quirks inside of him, of his other selves, pretty easily, relying on Ryuji to basically increase his repel himself, as he uses that of Gilgamesh's enhanced strength, speed, and durability to basically destroy multiple robots without even breaking a sweat. Not to mention, just like that of Ko, he is using that of Gensu's earth manipulation quirk to create barriers to defend that of people who are struggling. Sure, it seemed like that of kill stealing to others, but to Izuku, he's doing what he can to help those who are struggling with even taking down a single robot. However, the thing that catches everybody completely off guard is that Izuku is using multiple quirks, thinking that Izuku is cheating, or whatever quirk he does have is making him OP as hell. And even wondering why the hell didn't he take that of the recommendation exam that was a few days ago, with Izuku ignoring all this and continuing on through that of the exam. As for the UA staff overseeing that of the exam, as they see each and every one of the applicants giving their all during this exam, with many of them quite impressed with that of the versatility of their quirks, abilities, using quirks for recon, some having that of pure destructive quirks, some even working with that of fellow applicants that they just met to gain that of points too, showing that they have a good outcrop of promising hero candidates. However, one of the applicants looking through that of the exam couldn't help but feel somewhat scared and worried at the same time, noticing as they stare at that of Izuku, as he uses multiple quirks, but not just him, but that of his other variants of himself as well, using that of quirks such as Riku, Yuma, and Ko. As getting a better look at the man, as he has that of a tacky yellow suit with that of long, messy, blonde hair, and actually looks quite, malnourished actually. But his eyes say that of other, like that of weariness and pure, unadulterated strength and will. If one of the other spectators, that's of a, animal-like creature, looking at the man saying, "My, Yagi, can I ask, you look quite nervous there for a bit. Care to explain why? Saying, it's just the student, the one applicant, Zone C. Who are they? With then looking over, as the person looking, as they have that of a gas mask, a cowboy hat, looking over saying, oh yeah, I've heard about this one. This is Izuku Midoriya. Said by, he's basically, even though he could have gotten into that of the school by, well, letter recommendation, turns out they decided to allow that of him to be part of that of the entrance exam. The person that wanted to sponsor him was the HPSC. Within hearing that, one of the other spectators of the staff, a woman wearing a skin-tight, well, white uniform with long black purplish hair, saying the HPSC wanted to sponsor him, but instead they allowed him to take the entrance exam instead of the recommendation exam. That doesn't sound like them, actually. With one person in the very back saying, because it isn't. They're normally the kind of person to basically groom and train that of their own heroes. I mean, look at Hawks and Nagant, for example. As the man wearing all black with a 5 o'clock shadow beard and messy long hair with that of a quite, well, weird-ass scarf around him. But then, that's when the, well, animal-like figure spoke up saying, exactly. So I guess we might need to keep an eye on him and see why that they allowed that of a promising person like this come here instead. Or better yet, let's see what he's truly capable of. As pressing a button, something begins to happen. As in each zone, that's where the 0 pointer finally appears. And everybody begins to freak out, with Izuku destroying another robot being a 3-pointer, alongside that of Yuma, basically sending a 3-pointer up into the air before it falls back down to the ground, exploding from falling so high from gravity after all. With then, Izuku saying, this isn't half bad actually. If we keep up this coordination, we might. With then, Ko saying, hey, Izuku, we got a problem. Within, hearing that from his, well, wolf-like Quirk saying, what is it, Ko? Saying, I think the 0 pointer is finally showing up. As for Riku, destroying that of 2 more 2-pointers and 3 3-pointers. With realizing, wait, it's arriving? So soon, but it hasn't even been that long yet. With then, Yuma coming up saying, yeah, and honestly, it's huge. As the wind-like variant Quirk couldn't help but see that of the massive 0-point robot as it begins to basically go down the streets, with many applicants running away from it as much as they can, given that not only they won't get any points from it, but also given how huge it is. With Izuku realizing, with all this panicking going around, I think it's best that we try and help out. With then Ko saying, Ko will do that. As Ko basically goes off that of a rooftop and begins to basically run through that of the streets, seeing that of many other applicants panicking and freaking out, as he tries to help them up and basically get them back on their feet, or those who are too basically, well, in that of fear, he basically grabs them with that of his teeth and drags them. With Yuma not even being idle, as seeing that the 0 pointer is causing quite a bit of debris across the city, he uses his wind to basically knock back the debris, allowing that applicants to run away. Within, he's saying, if we keep this up, we might be able to make it. And a lot of other people might be able to. Without warning, that's when Gil soon comes out, saying, I'm not wasting my time with this. I'm going to take it out, put an end to that of this farce. Within, he's saying, wait, Gil, you don't need to. It's worth 0 points, saying, and why should I not care? A foe like this should be at least worth my time. Surely it should have at least some combat abilities, if not only if it's massive, right? And besides, I'm done sitting on the sidelines and allowing that of these inferior versions of you do all the work. I am somebody who's destined for greatness, being your Quirk after all. And I refuse to sit back and do nothing. Just remember this. You've done well using my abilities and powers on your own standing, Izuku. But now, let me show you what I can truly capable of. As somebody who bears the name Gilgamesh. As then, the golden-like aura begins to erupt around Gilgamesh. Before then, blitzing towards the 0 pointer. With then, Ryuji saying, that freaking asshole. With then Gensu saying, what are the chances of a penalty if we destroy the 0 pointer? With then, Riku hearing this as he saw that of Gil rushing towards it overhead saying, the chances are at least 50-50 that there's a penalty around the 0 pointer. With Ryuji hearing that saying, oh, if he screws this up for us, I'm going to kill him myself. With Gensu thinking, wait, can you even kill a variant? I thought for sure that Lord Izuku is the only one of us that can kill his own sentient. But then Izuku saying, I'd rather not test that. However, at that very moment, Gil has already arrived in front of the 0 pointer. And with a big smirk on his face, he charges 2 energy-like spears. Before then, putting them together. This is the end of you, you mechanical monstrosity! As sending that of a powerful blast from his hands. Blast engulfs that of the 0 pointer. As the 0 pointer trying his best to keep moving forward. However, pieces of it continues to basically get ripped apart, atomized, and basically fading. With that, soon, Gil stops. Leaving that to the 0 pointer, as his head is basically completely, as the armor plating is completely gone, as a few of its eyes basically cracked and sensors no longer working, as it basically glitches, statics, and many other things as well. Before then, tries to raise up its one arm. Before then, it completely and utterly shuts down. With Riku seeing this saying, I expected him to go fully all out. With then Ko saying, same here. Gil held back? With then Gil basically scoffing with his hands in that of his pocket as he begins to fly back down to the ground saying, of course I held back, you inferior copies. Are taking down villains like this. You need to reduce that of collateral damage around the area. After all, it's only natural that I would not go full all out, but even so, only that of 30% of my power was enough to basically bring this thing down to its knees. With that, Gil couldn't help but have that of a big smirk. With Izuku saying, let's just hope that Riku's idea about that of penalizing isn't true. With destroying that of the 0 pointer. With that of the UA staff in the monitoring room, many of them couldn't help but be completely off guard seeing another version of Izuku as it destroyed one of the 0 pointers without even breaking a sweat. With one of them being a shirtless man with an excavator as that of a helmet saying, man, he destroyed one of the 0 pointers without even breaking a sweat? There goes that of all the hard work me and the third years put into for one of them. Not the worst part is, we had to recycle some of the 0 pointers for that of the sports festival. So that means we're going to be down a 0 pointer this year. Within, that's when the rodent-like entity saying, it can't be helped, Power Loader. If anything, I'm actually more impressed to take down a 0 pointer and not only that, to destroy it to the point that instead of destroying it entirely, he destroyed it enough where its systems would basically overload and it would no longer be able to move. That's actually quite interesting. Such battle sense is quite amazing. Wouldn't you all agree? With many of them couldn't help but agree at those words. As for that of All Might, on the other hand, he could help but say, such versatility, such power, so many quirks, and not only that, they're copies, variants. There's no way. Could this young Midoriya be related to him? As the man known as Yagi could help but feel a little bit worried about Izuku and his origins. But little did he know, his fear is not even valid at all, as the UA entrance exam finally comes to an end. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. So, what do you guys think? You think I did this? Because honestly, when I was recording for this entire What If, I kinda dropped parts here and there and kinda just basically did something completely different when I was recording. So in a way, and not because I lost interest into it, mainly because I felt like this was an obligation of me working on it. If there's one thing that I do when it comes to my what ifs, I do this stuff for fun. If I start working on stuff where I feel like I have to have some obligation to do it, I lose interest into it real quick. I'll still do it, but it may come out a lot longer than before. So yeah, at any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to get to date my videos uploaded to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my other channel, my side channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, and hope you all take care. You know what to do, Shiro.
Hi everyone, this is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!